Good guy, that Mike Garafolo. Mike Garafolo looking very presidential in a gray suit and red tie today. He looks sharp, very sharp. Mike, you always look great. What didn't look great was that two of the biggest stars in the NFL on Sunday both tore their ACLs. It was bizarre. Micah Parsons and Patrick Mahomes. Now, I'm no doctor, Mike, as you know. You've known me for a long time. But I assume when two people are injured on the same day and it's the exact same injury, that the recovery time would be the same. Am I wrong about that, Mike?
Well, there's different factors at play here, Jay. I'm actually going to make a comparison between Patrick Mahomes and Carson Wentz from 2017. Was on an MVP level, tore his ACL, diving into the end zone. Also had a torn LCL, as my colleague at NFL Network, Ian Rappaport, reported. So does Patrick Mahomes. He's got another ligament there. So it sort of doesn't complicate things, but it makes it a more thorough surgery, and it makes it a more thorough recovery. And Wentz and Mahomes were injured roughly around the same time of the season. Wentz did return to week 3 of the regular season. Now, the Eagles were really strict with that one as far as abiding by what the research shows to the week that they felt like they were ready to give Carson Wentz the green light so he didn't suffer a setback. I don't know if the Chiefs will be that strict, but that sort of gives you a rough idea for the timeline here for Mahomes, who, like early career Wentz, has movement as a big part of his game. So that's definitely going to be one where he's going to attack it, but sometimes it's just the science and the research that goes into it. So we'll see how the Chiefs decide to handle it in the end. I would say right now it's up against the start of the season, and similar for Micah Parsons as well. That was just an incredibly tough one, but that's why you push to get the contract extension when you can get the contract extension. In his case, it came from the Packers. So it stinks from a football standpoint, from a surgery and rehab standpoint certainly now, but at least he was able to get himself financially secure with that huge extension from the Packers.
Okay, Tua Tagovailoa is making a huge amount of money, Mike, but I'm not sure he's going to be the Dolphins starting quarterback anymore after that rough performance on Monday night in which the Miami Dolphins were eliminated from postseason contention. So now that there's nothing to play for, do you think the Dolphins are pondering a change at quarterback?
I do, yes. And not just because of Mike McDaniel's answer on that one, but Tua Tagovailoa's play hasn't been there. And Quinn Ewers, who we've seen in spurts, the former Texas quarterback, they took him in the 7th round, but a lot of people thought he was a talent that should have been taken a lot sooner. He's there as well. So is Zach Wilson. Now, you sort of know where Zach Wilson is at this point in his career. So I think if you're going to make this move, you're going to do it with an eye towards the future, maybe towards Quinn Ewers. Now, we'll get full clarity on this on Wednesday when Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins return to practice and McDaniel addresses the media. But it potentially could be a warning shot at Tua Tagovailoa because he's got $54 million guaranteed next year. And you could say, well, they're doing this because maybe they want to trade him. If you're going to trade him, how are you trading him with that number? You're going to have to take on a lot of that money. I know we're sort of getting ahead of ourselves right now, but Mike McDaniel's comments did indicate that, everything is on the table just the way that he said it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they make a move, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's the rookie Ewers who winds up getting the nod so they can see what they have in him as they assess whether to keep Tagovailoa as their starting quarterback, as their franchise quarterback in 2026. And again, we know it's going to be potentially a new GM because they've already fired one. They've gotten an interim in Champ Kelly, but there's going to be a search there. And it could be a new head coach as well. So there's just a lot of factors at play right here for Tagovailoa, who's got that $54 million fully guaranteed next year. I need to say it again.
It has been a very disappointing season in the nation's capital, Mike. As you know, the Commanders will miss the playoffs, and now they're shutting Jayden Daniels down for the final 3 weeks of the season. But do you feel like this is the right decision if Daniels is actually healthy enough to play?
At this point, the Commanders, in more than one way, just have to sort of cut bait and move on to 2026. This was an extremely disappointing season. It's an injury-plagued season for Daniels, who also had a knee injury earlier in the season. I know he wants to play. And ideally, they would have loved to see him out there playing against the Eagles, getting some confidence, and finishing on a high note. That's why they put him back out there in the first place. But now you had a re-injury of that elbow, and it's like, if we do this, it could potentially be a lot more serious this time, and now you got ramifications into 2026. This is going to be a transformative time this upcoming offseason for the Commanders. I know that they sort of went for it right now because you've got a guy on a rookie deal, which allows you to pay guys at other positions. Laramie Tunsil, they make the trade for him, the left tackle. Bobby Wagner, they run it back. But I think you're going to see a lot of these veterans are going to be let go or not re-signed. and the move to get younger for the Commanders right now and get healthier in a lot of ways. So Jayden Daniels, certainly that is going to be the priority for him. This team needs an offseason reset and a retooling. Come back in 26, and say, we were not the team in 2025. That 2024 version of the Commanders, that's the real us.
I'll say this, Mike. We would never shut you down. In fact, we will talk to you on Monday before we take our Christmas break. Sounds good?
Sounds great. Let's get some momentum ourselves heading into 2026 and prove, Jay, that that'll be the best year for us. How about that?
I love it.